Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's a pleasure as always to have you guests and friends with us today. Remembering some of the personalities of the story of Ashura and Karbala. When it comes to Qasim, the son of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, the first thing that comes to our mind is of course youth. And everyone here, mashallah, being youthful and young. We know that there are problems that take place, that the youth is, or the period of the youth is the most difficult or the most crucial period in a person's life. In fact, the ahadith say that there are three things that can be the most destructive. The first is free time. A person, for example, is unemployed, he doesn't have anything to do. This can be very destructive. We'll notice a person is on holiday, he's committing all of the sins that you can think of. He's busy at work, he's busy with the kids, he's busy in the masjid, he's not doing that. The second is the youth. That period, if it's not controlled, can be al-mufsid, the thing that destructs my future. And the third is excessive wealth that the ahadith mentions. When there's too much wealth and a person cannot control himself, it can be a big destructive factor in his life. When it comes to the youth, we notice that there are certain challenges. And maybe we notice that some challenges are more important than the others. What do we see from Karbala as one of the maybe important qualities of the youth? Or we can take it the other way. What do we see as the major challenges that youth goes through, and how can we deal with it? How can we come out and ensure that, let's say, if our youth has gone or is going, then a person who is younger than us utilizes that to the maximum way? How do we benefit from that period? What do we do? How do we utilize it?
I think the current issues that we have with the youth is that they're not actively participating within Islamic programs, centers, and society in general, especially in countries like in the West. These children, or the youth, need to be encouraged, one, by the elders in the community to join in and participate along with them and be taught how they were taught by their parents. But also the youth themselves need to identify that they should also try to proactively engage with Islamic centers and organizations, and to also provide a service to themselves as well, because they know their issues, they know their problems, they know how to deal with each other. But this laid back and lazy attitude of not taking the lead on things and expecting others to do it for them would not give them an end product that is beneficial.
But what is the effect of this? What is the effect of lack of interest of youth? How is it affecting them?
Well, the negative effect on them would be that, slowly after years, when they grow older, they will not have the right qualities and attributes in education for them to progress Islamically when they grow older.
I mean, the youth is still learning. Sorry to cut you off.
Sorry about that. They won't be able to partake and give that to their children afterwards. They'll have something less. And then generation after generation, this idea of what religion is, this culture that we have, will be diluted.
So lack of religiosity.
Of course.
Yeah. But what are some of the factors of this lack of involvement? So we said the reason is that they're not involved. Why are they not involved?
Well, one of the factors that obviously the brother put forth was the elders of our community. They're not really stepping up to the plate as they should and making the right steps. And I agree with that, because in the community that I'm from, the Asian community, there's quite a few Hussainiyas, Imam Bargas, where they just cater for the adults, they just cater for the uncles and the aunties. They bring the orator from overseas, and the youth their language is English now.
So what do the youth want? Tell us.
They want to understand. I mean, we as human beings, not just the youth, we learn every day. We see, we observe, we experience. And the youth especially, they absorb everything around them. So if they're not being taught in the correct channels, in the correct format, they'll still be learning but the wrong stuff. Stuff outside the Hussainiyas and the Imam Barga, stuff in schools, and we don't necessarily know if that is the right thing. I'm not talking about just mathematics or algebra, stuff like that. I'm talking about their peers, They could be taking in things that's not really going to develop them in the way that a moment should be developed.
Imam Ali alayhi salam has a famous saying where he says the youth, the heart of the youth, is like a piece of land where nothing is growing on it. And it's fertile. Yes. Whatever is planted, it will accept. So that's why we see this period is very crucial. As Amir said, if they are not in the centers or working, and you also highlighted, that means that they have to accept something. There has to be something, there has to be some sort of seed that is sown there and planted.
Not many people identify or realize that this starts at a very, very young age. You know, this fertility that you're describing in the hadith of Imam Ali starts from the age of 4 and 5 in a child. They at that age, that is where they absorb the most and they are the most fertile. When they're given an idea, that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. But a lot of people nowadays, they think, oh, when the child becomes 15, it's a problem. But no, actually, when they're 5, that's where they should concentrate on them the most.
You know, mentioning that and the seed that you're mentioning, and at the age of 4 and 5, I really agree with you. You know, within the community today, you find those who are involved within the Islamic centers, those who are involved within the Islamic community in general, are those who have been brought up within this environment. Most of them, of course. Of course, some of them who haven't been brought up in that way. And of course, some people haven't had the tawfiq to stay on this path. And some people have been given the tawfiq to actually come into this path after being nowhere near this path. But so, for example, I know in my case and in the brothers' cases as well, you know, Sayyid Ali would have probably heard of this saying, "Tarbiyat manabir." Yeah, you're brought up by the mimbar of Abu Abdullah, by the pulpit of Abu Abdullah. That's what you're brought up by. So I remember, for example, when I was young, my father would take me, hold his hand. He would be the one reciting, or if he's not reciting, he'd be attending a majlis. He'd hold my hand. If he's reciting, I'd be sitting right beside the mimbar, even at the age that I don't understand anything. So maybe you don't always need this understanding of what's going on. Just this atmosphere of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain gives this.
This is such a key thing. Children are not going to understand deeply and in complex ways what's going on when they go to majalis, right? But there are little things you can focus on to make them love going there. On the weekend, I love to go to the park because I'm 4 years old and I like to have fun. When I go to the park, I have fun. The same way when we're raising them to be, as we call them, Khaddam al-Hussain alayhi salam, to be servants of Imam Hussain, we need to teach them that this is the place that you're going, is a good place. It's a place of love and it's a place of fun. It's not a place of fun, but for them it's a place of fun. As in when they go to the Hussainiyah, they don't get shouted at by some really large fellow that they're like, you know what, I don't want to come here anymore. Dad, don't take me to the Hussainiyah. So what is it? That negative implication. This is what stays in a child's mind. This kind of implication you put in there. Let me give you a story about Karbala in the 1950s, 1940s, 50s. A story narrated to me by my father who was there in that time. My grandfather, may Allah, may he rest in peace, he would gather the children of the area of Karbala inside the town and tell them, Ashura is going to start. In Ashura, you're going to see lots of different things. One of the things, we're going to give you one responsibility to give the baklawa out. You know, baklawa is this nice Arabic sweet. They'd give it out to the zuwar and to the people who are coming. Like you're young and people would see it and it'll be nice, they'll take it from you. We want you to be responsible when you do this. The kids are excited, you know, they have some sort of responsibility. They're like, what's going to happen is you're going to see the other kids, they're going to come take a baklawa. Then they're going to go all the way around and they're going to come and they're going to try to take another baklawa. When they come for the second baklawa, don't shout at them. Don't tell them no, don't take. Don't tell them no, that you've already had one. Like firstly, because this is not from your dad's money. It's not from my money. It's not from my granddad's money. This is Imam Hussain's baklawa. So it's open for as much as they want. So my dad, even though he was young, asked his father, he's like, why there might be people who don't take? He's like, number one, everyone was going to take. Number two, I don't want these kids, when they come to Karbala and somebody shouts at them because they want to take another baklawa, to start having hatred to come to Karbala, to start having hatred to come to the majalis of Imam Hussain, to the aziyat that's happening in the streets and stuff. And my dad narrates the story. He says, I was so young and it stuck with me throughout my life that even when we were exiled and we went to Syria, we came to London, when I'm doing the majalis, I remember how important it is to respect the children, to be pleasant with the children, to not shout at the children, that if they want food, give them food. If they want again food, give them food again. Don't say no to them. Let them, in their very cute, small minds, have an attachment with Imam Hussain alayhi salam. This is such an important thing. And this is an amazing thing in my opinion.
So we have focused, and alhamdulillah, it's definitely correct and definitely important. What we have highlighted is the problem, one of the issues maybe that we see with the youth is that they are not involved, and maybe it's not that necessarily their fault, as we have said, but they're not involved in the communities as they should be. What other issues, what other factors, what other things do we need to ensure that a youth has during that time? Because certain things, when he becomes older, he won't be able to gain. Certain things, this is the time for it.
Religiosity, that as you said, we don't have the correct schools in this country, the correct courses. I was doing volunteering in an Arabic school one time. And I saw the children during the time of wudu. I entered the bathroom to tell them, please, salah time, can you hurry up your wudu? And they did not even know how to use the bathroom in the correct etiquettes and manners. And they didn't even know how to use it in the correct way, what's halal and haram, even in terms of Islam. And I realized these are children who come from good families. Their parents sit in the majalis 24/7, Allah bil khair. How do their children not know this is the way to do this, this is the way to do this, this is the way to wash this is the way to wash that? We have a huge problem. A huge, huge problem. For my dad, he didn't have that problem. He grew up in Iraq, for example. For me, my dad was the one who raised me. But me now, being born in this country and trying to raise my child, I'm going to have a problem, for example, if I do not build myself. But some people would say, how can I build myself? I'm not going to the Hawza in Najaf and Qom. And we can't bring the Najaf and Qom here. What are the other alternatives? So that's a very important thing. Are there alternatives? Most people say there isn't. What would you say? I don't know.
Of course there are. You see, the thing is, you don't need the Hawza of Najaf to be there for someone to actually be religious. You don't need the Hawza of Qom. You don't need to be by the shrine of Imam Hussain in Karbala to be religious. You don't need any of that. You see, at the end of the day, even if there is a need for these places, you have people who have come from these places. So for example, we have Sheikhna sitting here with us. He's from the Hawza of Qom. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Now, us sitting in this gathering with him, we can benefit from him.
Ahsant.
Now he can bring stuff from there and come share it with us.
Ahsant.
We have the likes of the father of Sayyid Amir, Sayyid Fadl Bahr al-Ulum. We sit down with him, we can benefit from him. Now, why don't we make use from those scholars that we have around us? You see, that's another problem the youth
But there's a
have.
generational gap, some people would say.
Okay.
I'm playing devil's advocate,
fine.
of course,
No,
because
that's fine.
I'm on the other side of the
Generation.
spectrum.
That's
But people
fine,
will
no,
say
that's
to you,
fine.
I can't sit next to this Mawlana.
That's
He's wearing the
100%
turban, I don't know how to act
Nowadays,
in front of him.
alhamdulillah, we have many people who have wanted to study and many scholars that are coming from Najaf and Qom of various ages, of various ethnic backgrounds, of various languages that they can speak. Nowadays, the excuses are very difficult to actually justify.
I agree with you, but let me ask you a question. Because, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me a huge honor that I was able to serve with Sayyid Amir in the majalis here in London under the tutelage of his father. The majlis would finish. Our friends, our youth, were with us. We want to go say salam to Sayyid Fadl afterwards. A lot of them wouldn't. Why? I don't know how to act with in front of him. I don't know how to say hello in front
They're
of him.
nervous. Mathalan.
They don't know what to do. And you know him, he's the nicest, smiliest guy. It's not like a strict person or something like that. But these are very small things that if they're fixed, other things will come. Am I wrong? You remember, of course.
These are juz'iyat, specific issues. But I think what has come from that, what I had asked, is what, if it's lost here, cannot be gained, is what the knowledge that a person at a young age gets, sticks with him.
The foundation.
A person goes, he's at the age of 50, over 40, he can still gain that knowledge. And I have heard so many people that come to me and they said, I didn't learn this when I was young, but now I want to learn it. It's much harder now. When that young person learns, for example, you said how to use the bathroom correctly, or
He'll be doing it for the rest of his life.
about his aqeedah or whatever, you'll notice people have certain habits. You mentioned one about your father, or they have certain pieces of knowledge that they know. Where did they gain that from? Not 5 years ago, when they were youth, when they were young. This issue of the relationship with ulama and these other things, these are certain factors that play about. But in actual fact, the main goal is that the youth should be someone who has knowledge, who isn't ignorant. Whether that is done through the centers, through, as you have said, sitting with scholars and ulama, because when...
For example, Sheikhna, now our gathering, beautiful gathering, only 4 of us gathered with you. Should be much more. We should have bigger gatherings like this. These are very beneficial gatherings, for example. Something has to happen about this.
What other barriers are there? What other
Culture barriers, language barriers.
not with regards to that. What other barrier is there for the youth to remain religious?
Distraction. They're distracted
What
by,
distraction?
by the world we live in. Movies, games, music. They find it more entertaining to watch TV, go to the cinema, than to go sit in a majalis. Especially if it's not a well-known orator, because some people have the skill of oration, like yourself, mashallah, and you're entertained. You are. I can use that word because you are. You're learning, you're reaching conclusions, etc. You're building awareness, but you're also entertained at the same time. But we've become used to. I think a lot of the youth, for example, gamers.
Yeah.
I think that's an addiction. I know a gamer. I'm not going to mention who this individual is, but that's their fix. They need it. So when they come home, they will sit in front of that computer screen. And I'm not even talking about PS4. I'm talking about the hardcore computer games. They put their headset on and they're like talking to people across the world. They are plugged in. They're literally plugged in, exactly. And they need that now. It's very hard. So when they're not playing their games and let's say they're traveling somewhere, even when they're traveling, they have to have their phones. They're plugged in there. They're watching their animes and they're watching their,
This comes back to something we were talking about in one of our jalasat with you, Shaykhna, is that they're a slave to this. They've become a slave to this. In order for them to become free, they need to free themselves of this and get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
However, I must say, the individual that I have in my head I'm talking about, I feel because I know him very closely and I know his family. And his family has always been religious. And I can see the effects of that religiousness on him, because whenever there's a shahada, whenever there's a waladat of an imam or some sort of event, he's sending messages, say, hey, you guys want to go? Who's going? Can I hop on? And I can see that despite him being so transfixed into this dunya in a way, but he still remembers and he still knows and he loves going. When it comes to Muharram, I know that he kind of sets time aside for that. And he goes and he does his bit. So credit where credit is due as well.
When a child is born, the ulama say he is like a complete animal. What do we mean? He wants something. I'm hungry, for example. I'm patient. I'm thirsty. I can wait.
It's still primitive.
But I'm able to control it. I'm a human being. I'm not like an animal. Someone, for example, cuts you off while driving, Sayyid Ali. You control it. You don't start saying four-letter words, مثلا.
No.
Because we control it, we're a human being. When a child is born, they are full haywan at that time. They want something, we want it now. There's no patience. I'm hungry, I want it now.
And that I know very much about that. Alhamdulillah, with my 1-year-old, I know very much about that.
You'll see sometimes a child, he doesn't get something and start to move his hands in a violent way. Why? Because he's like an animal. Then it takes stage by stage by stage. They go from haywan to insan. In that period of the youth, if that doesn't happen, you will see people today go onto the streets. He's still an animal.
He's still an animal. He has
Sorry to say, he's still an animal.
No, you're
He's fulfilling
100%
them.
right.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And if I can go back, because earlier you said around the age of 3-4 is when they start to develop. I actually think it's even younger, and I have a personal example. My daughter, she's 2, when she began to walk almost a year ago, she's seen me and my wife pray. Okay, we didn't necessarily call her to us, but she's seen us pray quite a few times now.
Yeah.
And this is what she does. So she sees me, she knows I'm doing the adhan, doing the iqamat. I've begun. She comes, stands next to me by herself. I go into sujood. Her sujood is lying on the stomach, and she's following me. And that's it. It's beautiful. I'm happy with that. She just does 2 rakats. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. And then she goes away, plays, comes back. She says Zohar with the missus because she's at home and she can pray. I'm obviously at work. And then we do Maghrib and Isha. Again, she has her own Maghrib and Isha going on, 1.5 rakat or 2 rakats. Fajr, she said, sorry, I can't do. I'll be asleep by then. I said, no problem, please be asleep, don't wake up. But I can see that happening and in front of me, and that's going to be embedded inside her, inshallah. And we have to just carry that forward. And that's where my responsibility comes in, where she moves on to the next year and next age and next level. And I have to advance that, make sure she's understanding. Exactly. Cannot have that disconnect, which is what you were saying, why these good families are producing these children that cannot even do wuzu properly or don't have the etiquettes to go to the bathroom, because there's a disconnect.
There's a huge disconnect. They're no longer bothered. Either both the parents are working, they're chasing money, or you hear this excuse, I'm too tired, I don't have time.
Is it that the parents are trying to bring the kids up the way they were brought up automatically? What I mean is, there's a hadith from Imam Ali that's coming to my mind, where you should bring your children up according to the era that you live in, according to the era that they are being brought up. Am I correct?
Mansoob, yeah.
Attributed to it, but they're kind of bringing the kids up because they themselves were brought up automatically in the religion. They're like, oh, the kids will learn themselves, let them learn themselves. We're not going to take any effort. And that's wrong, I think.
In using and talking about that hadith that you mentioned, a lot of people interpret the hadith to say, no, we need to change ourselves for the society or the time that we are. But actually the hadith could be interpreted in a way to say that we need to bring up our children in accordance to the issues that we have currently. So we have to tailor and alter ourselves to the problems that are here, so we can able to understand
the main things.
Exactly. So
the fundamentals
the child
shouldn't change.
Wouldn't maybe understand things in the way that you understood it. So you have to break it down and feed it to them in the way that they will be able to understand and take it.
The thing is with parents, which is something I can see. Now I teach at the Arabic school, so I see a lot of these parents and children relationships, and one thing that I do see is many parents today, they try to make stuff for their children easier. And I do say, try make it easier. How? Yeah. They see their daughter, for example. Now, the age of hijab is 9 Hijriyas. Now, when she reaches that age, most girls nowadays at that age are still, let's say, small. I think it's the eating habits that have changed, etc. So if they say, oh, look at her, she's going to wear the hijab, it's going to get hot, she can't, it's fine, let her stay like this. Now she reaches the age of 12, 13, she still hasn't had the hijab on her head. Yeah. Okay, now this is what? To make it easier for her. Now, why not, if you want to make it easier for her, why not from the age of 6, start something to show her hijab. Start making her wear longer clothing. Start making her wear a headscarf from now and then. When you go to a majalis, make her wear like a abaya or something. Something she gets used to it gradually. In the same way she can wear a hijab at this age, she can wear a hijab at that age. But oh, my daughter, let me not do this for her. Let me not do now. Let them listen to music. It's not gonna affect them. Now we all know the bad effects music can have.
They're not at the age of bulugh right now. Yeah.
Let them do whatever they want. Or even worse, well, I'd rather have them do this than do something else.
Oh my God.
I'd rather have them do this than do something else. Now this is really bad, because this small thing that you're talking about is what's going to lead them to this something else. And this is according to the hadith of our A'immah. And Imam Ali has a very beautiful saying. He says that the biggest sin is the one that you take the most lightly.
Yes.
Khulasatul kalam is that the youth especially needs a role model. Yes. As I said, that empty piece of land needs to accept something, whatever is given. It should be the role of those who are older than that youth, parents or whatever it may be, to give them the best role models. Before this movie star or that person, whatever becomes their role model, Ahlulbayt alayhim as-salam become their role model. Qasim ibn Hassan alayhi as-salam becomes their role model. And that's when you mention that person, for example, even though he's in other things, okay, gaming, whatever, everything in its place. Everything, okay, has a limit. A person wants to enjoy with their friends, there's a limit to everything. When you mention, for example, that he, in majalis, he's always willing and has this zeal to go, because he's taken them, inshallah, as his role models. Not other people, at the right time. Once that gate of the heart is closed, there's no opening it. If he's going to live 70 years of his life, whatever's in there is going to stay there for 70 years as a role model. So we need to put that from the beginning, that Qasim, Ali Akbar, Abu Abbas, and these personalities are role models. In this night, we often remember this son of Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wasalam, who was very close to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Why? Because he resembled his father. Imam Hassan alayhi salam, the older brother of Abu Abdullah. Of course, we know the brothers, they have very close relationship with one another. So Imam Hussain alayhi salam felt the pain of the loss of Qasim very deeply on his heart, because he was reliving the martyrdom of his brother Imam Hassan alayhi salam. It would be good if we could hear some poetry and lamentation about this great youth and great personality, Qasim Salamullahi alayhi.
Ajarakumullah. After the Ashab were martyred one by one, Banu Hashim started going to the battlefield one after the other, starting by the oldest son of Al-Hussein, Ali Al-Akbar. Al-Qasim came to Imam, he asked him for permission to go to the battlefield. Imam Hussain said, "O son Qasim, your father Imam Hassan had put his trust in me to look after you." Qasim replied, "O Uncle Hussein, but I am fulfilling my father's will." Imam Hussain asked him, "How is that?" He said to him, "O Uncle, when my father was on his deathbed, he said, 'O son Qasim, if you see your Uncle Hussein all alone on the plains of Karbala, do not come short in his support. O son Qasim, I won't be there on that day. Represent me on that day." Imam Hussain hugged Qasim until they both fell to the ground. When they got up, Imam Hussain asked, "O son Qasim, how do you find the taste of death?" Qasim replied, "O uncle, death for you to me is sweeter than honey." Imam Hussain took Al-Qasim to a tent. He put a name on this tent and called it the tent of the poisoned Hassan. He gave him Imam Hassan's war clothing. He gave him his sword. He said to him, "O Qasim, go into the battlefield, but before you do, go and say your last farewell to your mother and to your auntie Zainab." He went to his mother, and as if the poet is describing Qasim talking to his mother, "أوصيك يما وصية تسمعين لفظ جوابي، شبان لو شفتيهم بالله ذكر شبابي، محروم أنا يا والدة من دون كل أصحابي، يا والدة حين الشرب ذكريني." Oh mother, I have a will to say to you. If you see youth, remember my youth. I wasn't allowed to enjoy this period of time. يوم ذكريني من تمر زفة شباب، من العرس محروم حنتي دم المصاب. Of course, if you have memorized these lines of poem, recite it with me. يوم ذكريني من تمر زفة شباب، من العرس محروم حنتي دم المصاب، شمعة شبابي من يطفوها بيتي دمي وجفن دار التراب. أجركم الله. القاسم walked into the battlefield. He fought bravely, saying, إن تنكروني فأنا شبل الحسن صبط النبي المصطفى والمؤتمن. هذا حسين كالأسير المرتهن. If you deny me, I am the son of Hassan, the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad. This is Hussein, who is like a captured hostage between people who are stuck towards this era. أجركم الله. Al-Qasim, he bent down to fix his slippers. One of the Lu'ana came to Qasim, struck him with the sword on his head. رحم الله من نادى وقاسما وسيدا وحسينا. Qasim shouted, Uncle Hussein, peace from me upon you, help me. Ajarakumullah. Imam Hussain tried to get on his horse, he wasn't able to. He tried again, then he went to another side. Sukaina shouted, Father Hussein, the sound of Al-Qasim is coming from this side, you're going to the other side. He said to her, Oh Sukaina, I am going after the one who killed Al-Qasim. After he killed the one who killed Al-Qasim, he reached Al-Qasim. He put him in his lap. بجو نادى يا جاسم ايش بيدي يا ريت السيف قبلك حزور ايدي. هايلكم تخلوني وحيدي وعلى خيمي يا عم القوم تفتر. يا والله وعلى خيمي يا عم القوم يوم تفتر. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين.